Hi folks, Pastor Dave Grisham here for Official Street Preachers, and with this October 7th passing without serious incident, I wanted to kind of touch upon something that has been a concern of mine since that October 7th attack in Israel. Could that happen here in the United States? Could we see terrorists running up and down the streets, doing terrible things and shooting people and all that kind of stuff? Could we see that happening? And the answer is yes, we could. And the answer is, if Israel at this moment, because we're just possibly hours or days away from a response from Israel for the missile attack that took place a few days ago by Iran. If Israel attacks Iran, and Iran might attack the United States, and they may hit military bases in the Middle East. Now, there's also something else they can do. They can also call up their terrorist cells, sleeper cells they have in the United States, and there are thousands of them already here in the United States. Make no mistake about it. They've known about this for a long time, that they've been here. They've been here for quite some time, just waiting for the call, is what they say. And you could see an October 7th type attack take place in the United States. Now, what would that look like? Now, myself, I used to work at a place called Pantex, 20 miles outside of Amarillo, Texas. Pantex is the final assembly and disassembly point for all nuclear weapons produced in the United States. That's the official line that you can say that doesn't involve anything classified. And I spent the last 10 years of my career on a special response team, and the last 4 years or so on the OP4 team. That means the opposing forces team. In which case we trained in the tactics of terrorists. We were trained to think like them. And we had former Navy SEALs, we had former Delta Force, we had former Green Berets teaching us this stuff. These were in our training department. And they trained us how to think like and act like and operate like terrorists using terrorist tactics. And we went around to other DOE nuclear facilities and we attacked their security forces so that they could figure out weak points in their security plan and plug some holes, and they could figure out where to spend their money. So that's the reason that we were trained in that. And like I said, I was on this team about 4 years. So I received an extensive amount of training in this area. So I would have some idea as to what a terrorist attack in the United States might look like. Now, I'm not the end-all be-all of experts, that's for sure. I have some knowledge. I don't even call myself an expert. So take what I say with a grain of salt and pray about it, okay? But I'm just going to tell you some things that are definite possibilities based on the training that I have received, okay? And I want to give you this advice to help you and your family stay safe when this does occur. Because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, okay? And we're approaching the time when that is highly possible that we could see an October 7th style attack of terrorists in the United States. Now, there is no Gaza, so to speak, here in the United States, so they don't have a safe zone where they can grab hostages and take them into certain areas. That's not to say they won't take hostages like at schools, like in Beslan. Beslan, Russia was attacked by a bunch of Muslim Chechen terrorists, and nearly 200 children were killed in that attack when the Spetsnaz, the Russian special forces, went in to try to rescue the kids, and they terrorists put snipers and shooters up on the roof, and as the children tried to flee, they shot them with machine guns, and they were just gunning down children, and they set off bombs inside the school and killed a bunch of children inside the school. It was horrible. But I want you to understand the mindset that these people have. You're an infidel and it's okay to kill you. As a matter of fact, they get rewarded for killing you by doing this jihad. That is their mindset, okay? So get that firmly in your mind. They don't think like you. That's why they don't act like you. And they don't have the same regards for human life as we do as Christians. So I want you to understand that first and foremost. Now, What might occur in the United States would be something similar, but maybe a little different than what you saw take place in Israel. First of all, they probably would not be going into residential areas and trying to burn houses down and that kind of thing, because the death count would not be that high. If you noticed, they waited, I think they waited on this attack until there was a big concert going on, and they rushed in there and started killing people en masse at this concert. They want to get a lot of bang for the buck, so they want to attack crowds. That's one of their main targets. So at this point, I would recommend, from this point until this war in the Middle East is over, at least, who knows when that'll be, I would avoid going to large crowds. I would not be going to any major concerts. I would not be going to see a Taylor Swift concert. I would not be going to NFL football games, because the thing about it, let's say an NFL football game, for example. If a terrorist could get in there somehow with a couple of hand grenades and a gun and started shooting up the place, the death toll would not be as high as the number of people that one or more terrorists could shoot in an NFL football game. The death toll would be the massive panic, people trying to get out, and they would trample each other to death to get out of there. That would kill hundreds of people. So I would avoid going from this point until the war in the Middle East is over, especially if Israel hits Iran. I would avoid large crowds like the plague. I wouldn't go anywhere near a professional sporting event. I wouldn't go anywhere near a concert or a festival or anything like that, especially if it has something to do with something that the Muslims don't like. If it involves alcohol, homosexuality, things that they hate, they're likely to go after those kinds of targets. Okay, so don't go to gay pride parades. Don't go to bars and nightclubs and things like that. Remember what happened in France with that death metal concert and that nightclub? They went in there and shot all those people up and killed like 150 some odd people. That could very easily happen. Now, the Muslims have a day, and Glenn Beck has talked about this quite a bit on his show in the past, called the perfect day. And the perfect day is when they all get activated and they go after their individual targets. Each terrorist cell is going to have a primary objective and then maybe a secondary objective. And then after that, if they're still around, they're still alive and kicking, they're allowed to just do whatever they want to do. So what might they do? What might their primary and secondary objectives be? Well, first of all, the terrorist attack might take place, and it'll be like another 9/11, but it'll be much larger because it'll be spread out across the United States and major cities, even smaller cities all across America, all at once. It'll happen in one day, all at once, and it'll be horrific. And the death toll will be much higher than 9/11, okay? This will be much worse. So let's say that they want to hit their primary and secondary objectives without too much interference. What they might do is a command and control strike, where they go after command and control. The way they would do that is, okay, the way your cell phone works is when you make a phone call, you're not talking cell phone to cell phone, you're talking cell phone to cell tower. And then that line goes through the tower, through an optics cable to another tower, and there's a switching station in between. And that switching station has computers, and they have to figure out, where is this other cell phone? What tower is it connected to that you want to talk to? So it receives your signal, and then it goes through the tower into a switching station, and then the switching station decides which tower it needs to broadcast your call from, and then it connects you, and then it connects the two towers together through the switching station, and you're talking to each other, or texting, or sending photographs, or whatever else you're doing, right? That's a lot. You're connected to the internet is connected to this, everything is interconnected. But there are these switching stations that are critical in this juncture. There's too many cell towers for terrorist groups to take out cell phone towers. There's just too many of them. They don't have enough personnel to do that. But there's a lot fewer switching stations. If they were to attack the switching stations, they could take down internet, they could take down landlines, because your cell phones are connected into landlines as well. You can call a landline on your cell phone, your landline can call a cell phone. So these are all interconnected. If they go after these interconnected points, they can attack these buildings, usually they're small buildings in various places, just containing computers and things like that. Some of them are larger. But if they go, excuse me, if they go after these buildings, they can shut down cell service over a much wider area. Now, this can be done with a cyber attack, and that's probably how a lot of it will be done, or they can do a direct attack. And the direct attack would mean attacking the building itself, blowing it up, setting it on fire, destroying the computers, maybe shooting the generator outside even. They could do that, shoot the generator, the emergency generator that will generally be sitting outside or another building adjacent to it. They could take out the emergency generator and then shoot the transformers on the poles around the building to shut the power off to the building. Then the generator won't kick on. And basically you've disabled the computers inside the switching station because they don't have any power. You've taken out their backup source of power and you've taken out their primary source of power with just rifle fire. And they can do this rather quickly. Just shoot this up and then move on to their next target. And what that will do is it will shut down cell service, internet, and landline phones over a certain area. If you find yourself in that situation, okay, and the way you'll know is it'll be multiple things will go wrong. It won't just be your internet's down on your phone. It won't, because then your phone might still be working, you still might be able to send text messages. But if your cell service is down and the internet is down and your landlines are not working, now you've got an attack, okay? They have a saying in the military, one thing is an accident, two things might be coincidence, but three things, that's enemy action. So if you end up with 2 or 3 of these actions taking place, you can be relatively assured that there's a command and control attack taking place. And this will generally precede any major attack they want to do, because what they're going to do is they're going to want to disrupt your ability to call 911. They're going to want to disrupt your ability to call for emergency services so that they have more time, so their attacks can have more effect. Now, this might take place early in the morning during rush hour when everyone is going to school and everyone is going to work, because they can cause the most chaos, confusion at this particular time, okay? Morning rush hour would be an excellent time for them to hit. There's other things they can do to cause confusion. For instance, terrorists could get out of a van on an overpass and shoot at cars coming under the overpass on major interstates and just shoot up a dozen or so cars and then leave. And when those cars crash or stop because the drivers are dead and people realize somebody's shooting from the bridge, traffic will back up for miles. So they can cause massive traffic jams with just a brief amount of gunfire, disabling a dozen vehicles or so, and they could shut down stretches of highway for hours. They might do something like that. They might attack schools. Now, if they attack schools, it's not going to be your typical school shooter. Okay, your typical school shooter is one lone individual who is just going in there to cause mayhem because they're disgruntled and they've got a plan in their head, but they're not professionally trained terrorists by any means. Terrorists are not going to have any problem getting past school lockdowns. They'll blow doors, they'll knock out windows and throw grenades or whatever into the classrooms. They will shoot through the windows, things like that, or throw bombs in there. They will take schools hostage. They will go in and kill a bunch of kids or kill a bunch of teachers and get control of all the children and herd them into the gymnasium or something, and set up explosives on the exits and then hold them hostage like they did in Beslan. So there's any number of things they might do. And if you are in a situation where you're going to work, whatever's going to happen, and suddenly the cell phones stop working, the internet's down, the landlines quit working, now's the time to act. Once you have determined this is some sort of an attack, you need to do a couple of things. Number one, if you've got children in school, you need to go to school and get your children out of school immediately before anything else has a chance to happen. Go to the school and just physically go in and say, I want to check my kids out of school. I just got last minute doctor's appointments or whatever. Go in and just get your kids and get them out of the school and go home and stay home. Residential areas will be the safest areas. Stay off the major highways. Take secondary routes to get wherever it is you're going. Don't go on the major highways. To do so is to invite getting caught up in a traffic jam and having yourself stuck there while this terrorist attack is taking place. Okay, like I said, because if Israel attacks Iran and Iran attacks U.S. allies like Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and all of that, it may draw the United States into this conflict. The minute we're involved, terrorists may strike inside the United States. Okay, this is common knowledge amongst intelligence services and the military. They all know that this is a high probability, and they've been warning about this for quite some time. So I want you to be prepared. Okay, if you're at home, stay at home. If you're at work and you think it's relatively safe at work, it's not a large crowded factory or something that they might attack, just an office area or something, and you don't have children, you might be safe just staying at work. That might be the safest place for you. Stay off the roads as much as possible, because you could drive into an area that is under attack and you don't know what's happening. This could take place at night during a football game, but more than likely it's going to take place during the day when people are going to and from work, so they can cause traffic jams, snarl things up, cause as much disruption and panic as possible. And what these terrorists will do is, like I said, they will attack their primary targets, then may go to secondary targets, and after that they'll just run amok. They may go to shopping malls and just start shooting people. They may go to, like I said, schools. That might be their primary objective, is a school, and they will coordinate this so that you'll have the cyber attack, or you'll have the telephones and things going down, so nobody can call for help or report things. They'll do that first, and then they'll go through with their major attack. And they could also do a little, what I might call a mini 9/11. Which is, they're not going to hijack commercial aircraft. That's not going to work anymore. What they could do is have some pre-positioned and preloaded smaller aircraft. Like some of these terrorists could be pilots, and they may have small aircraft, like little puddle jumper planes, little Cessnas and stuff like that. They could fully load them with fuel, stick an improvised explosive device in the back, and take off and use it as a flying bomb. It now becomes a human-guided drone, a drone bomb, and then they fly it into a building, or they fly it into a school, or they fly it into some other target that they want to hit a large group of people, like a concert. That's why I'm saying don't go to concerts. If the attacks take place at night, they're going to hit large events like concerts and football games. That's where they'll hit, because you won't have a lot of traffic on the road and schools won't be in session. So if that happens, stay at home, okay? But my advice to you from this point forward is, make sure you have at least a week's worth of food and water in your house. If you don't have a gun, go buy one. Train, learn how to use it, and keep some ammunition at home. You don't have to go crazy. You don't need 57 guns. You know, those old sayings says, beware the man that only has one gun. He probably knows how to use it. Get yourself a gun and learn how to use it, and use it well, and you'll be well defended. You'll be well protected. It's better to know you have one gun and know how to use it really well than have 100 guns you really don't know that much about, okay? So get a gun and defend yourself and your family. Stay home. If a terrorist attack occurs and you're in a small town, don't go to the big cities. Do not get in your car and try to drive to the nearest Walmart in a major city. Don't do that, okay? Stay at home. The attack will last 12 to 24 hours. In that time frame, and then most of the terrorists will be killed or captured in that time frame. And it might drag on for 2 days, maybe 3 days if there's hostages involved. Could drag on for weeks if there's hostages involved, but it'll be more concentrated in smaller areas wherever the hostages are being held, and it won't be as widespread. Okay? And if you're a parent and the terrorist attack has already taken place, do not go get your child out of school. Do not try that. Because what they do is they will take a car bomb and put it outside of the school. That'll be one of the first things they do. If they go in knowing they're going to die, and they're going to die at this school, and they're going to kill a bunch of people and try to take them hostage, The car they will drive, the vehicle they drive will be a car bomb, and it will sit outside. And if you as parents try to rush up to the school and try to get your kids, they will detonate that bomb and they'll kill you. And even if your child survives, they'll be an orphan. So do not rush up to the school and go get your children once the attack starts taking place. Stay away from the schools. Let the authorities handle it. They're professionals. They know what they're doing, okay? Let the authorities handle it. But don't put yourself in danger and go get yourself blown up by a car bomb sitting outside of a school. One of the things the authorities will do is check for car bombs outside of the school and evacuate that area and set up a perimeter, and they'll start working on the other side of the school away from the car bomb or car bombs. There might be more than one. In any case, once the attack starts, if your child's in school, leave them in school. If the attack has not started, get your kid out of school. Go get your child and get them out of the school and take them home and go home. Leave work and go home if you need to. If the internet goes down, landlines go down, cell phones go down, something really bad is about to happen. You need to be prepared for that. Watch for that as your warning sign. It's called a command and control strike, okay? So I just want to give you this advice. Of course, the best protection you can have is your own life insurance through Jesus Christ. Repent of your sins, give your life to Jesus Christ, and be born again in Him. And I guarantee you, you will have an eternal security, a secure place in heaven. There will be no terrorists in heaven. Those people all end up going to hell if they don't repent. So there'll be no terrorists in heaven. You won't have to worry about violence anymore. You'll be safe and secure for all of eternity. Okay? You won't have to worry about anything else. No disease, no death, no nothing. Heaven will be perfect. And I just pray that you give your life to Jesus Christ today if you have not. God bless you all, and you have a good day.